I'm Tom Madden. I'm the director of the Durham Public Library. And I am here tonight with Doug Banks, who's the chair of our board, and with Andre Klertz. And he's from the Bowen Corporation. They're our contractor. And so we're here to do a small presentation on behalf of the new building project and to answer any questions you might have. I do want to start with just the fact that we are in the Mill Plaza in a 3,000 square foot facility where we've been for 14 plus years. And that was always meant to be our temporary home. And so it's still our temporary home as far as we're concerned. It's too small, it's cramped, it limits our ability to provide programs and services to the public. And so I'd like to give you some reasons why we're moving forward with this building project and why we feel it's important to do so at this time. So I want to begin with some statistics. And in 2011, we had 52,922 library visits. That's over 200 people visiting the library each and every day that we were open. The library, for those of you who have visited, does not have the amount of space to accommodate that many people. We checked out 56,293 items, 11% more than 2010, and 80% more than in 2006. We have a 5-foot-long table on which to process all of our materials in either interlibrary loans or new books and other materials. The Durham Public Library, the present facility, lacks many features found in most public libraries. So we are not ADA compliant. We have no children's story time or craft rooms, no meeting or conference rooms, no quiet space. There's only 8 computers available to the public, and that's for children and adults. There's limited seating for the public. No room for collection expansion, no storage, no workroom, no office space, no privacy. There's one restroom that's shared by everybody, and we pay $56,500 annually in rent, which most other public libraries are not doing. So in building this new library, what is that going to provide that we don't have? Well, pretty much everything that I just listed. The children's wing will have computers for kids and adults. Young adults, a children's collection area, a toddler parent area, a storytime craft room, family restroom, young adult room, and a children's librarian office with a children's desk so they can be there all the time for the kids. The adult wing will have the adult collection, study rooms, computers, a main circulation desk, comfortable seating with large windows, and also office space and workspace, a workroom. We'll have a meeting space. We sorely lack meeting space. We have a reading area up front, which, as I've mentioned before, we have to reconfigure every time we have a meeting or a program, and that's we're open 2 nights a week, and it's either one or both of those nights every single week. We'll have a community room that seats 100 people, and that can be partitioned. We'll have a heritage room, which will be a conference room seating up to 16, and it will also serve as our local history room, a local history resource room. We'll have 2 small study rooms, each seating 4 people apiece, and we'll have a cafe that is comfortable, a comfortable space in the original house, meant for study, wireless computing, socializing, and we see this as probably a self-serve operation. There's really nothing extravagant about any of those things. If you visit virtually any public library, you're going to see probably all of them, or certainly most of them. Maybe not the cafe, but you're seeing that more and more frequently as well in public libraries. And we have the perfect space for it in the original house. Doug is going to talk about cost. He's going to talk about cost, the operational cost of the building. He's going to talk about capital cost. But I wanted to touch on one thing, because when we put out the budget originally, the budget was meant for us to be open operational hours of 38 hours per week, which is exactly what we have now. And the reason we presented it like that is what we wanted to be able to do is to compare apples to apples for the present building and the new building. But the question has come up, and Councillor Lawson's brought this to our attention as well, that, well, don't you want to be open more hours? And yes, we want to be open more hours where we are now, and we certainly want to be open more hours in the new library. So we've presented a number of budgets recently. I don't know if you've gotten the most recent 51-hour one today.
Yes.
Okay. And so you have different examples of what it might cost to open the library for these different time periods. And so there's one in which we proposed opening for 41 hours in 2013 and then 44 hours the next year. And then we didn't branch out from there because we really, you can take your guesses how many hours you can open after that. But Councilor Glosson did say, well, wouldn't you want to be open as many hours for public access as you could? In our original proposals, as we built this out, we built up to 51 hours. And so I wanted to just speak to what 51 hours represents at the public library in terms of public access. Right now we're closed Sundays and we're closed Mondays. So for one thing, we could open Mondays for 7 hours. We're open Tuesdays now from 10 to 8. We're open Wednesdays from 10 to 8. They're the only 2 evenings we're open. We could open Thursday nights for additional 3 hours, so we would close at 8 as we do on Tuesday, Wednesday. And then Saturdays we're only open from 10 to 2. And this would allow us to be open 10 to 5. So now, instead of being only open 5 days a week, we're open 6 days a week, and we're open 3 nights instead of 2. Okay, so that's the kind of public access that we're talking about with opening for 51 hours. As Councilor Lawson pointed out to us, and we had done this research as well with different libraries, but we are definitely on the low end in terms of hours of operation. And so you can compare us to some of the bigger communities, and of course we're going to be lower. Portsmouth is 68.5, Exeter 63.5, but Hampton 56, Atkinson 56, Rye 55, Epping 54, and then you get down toward our end, and we have Newmarket actually is open only 40 hours. Candia is open 39. Durham really falls at the bottom of the list at 38 hours a week. So it's very low. It's very low. And so I mention this now because I guess that's a conversation that has to happen at some point, probably sooner rather than later, but is how many hours should we be open when we open? And if the community feels that we should be open more hours, well, that's what we'd like to see happen. So our initial proposals were a gradual increase because we were trying to address people's concerns about growing our budget too quickly. At the same time, if there is a public interest in that, then we are all for it. Okay, so let me just backtrack for a second and just talk about very quickly about where we are right now in this whole process. And so a site has been purchased. 49 Madbury Road was purchased in September of 2010 for $600,000 of privately raised funds. Okay, no town funds at that time. A building schematic has been drafted by Shear McChrystal Paulson Architecture, and this was based on a building program done by library building consultant Nolan Lushington from Hartford, Connecticut. We have hired a design-build team of SMP Architecture and the Bowen Corporation, and they have worked together on a number of projects, including public libraries. Our fundraising, which kicked off in April, has surpassed our goal of $900,000, and to date, we have raised $1,054,545 and still going. And so this has allowed us to drop the bond request from $2.7 to $2.6 million. So those are the numbers. Those are the facts. This is where we are. But the other thing I wanted to point out, why I feel it's important, and hopefully everybody here feels it's important, to build a new library at this time, is that the numbers don't tell the whole story. One of the things that we really built into this building is the people space. And the reason you do that for a public library is because it is a community space. And so one of the important aspects I feel of a public library is that it helps build community. Okay? A public library is a place for people to congregate, communicate, share ideas, read, browse, play with their children, introduce them to literature, do research, surf the internet, meet your friends, pick up tax forms, get computer training, get your questions answered, and a whole host of other things. We're a little bit of everything for everybody. But basically what we are, we're a shared resource that everybody participates in and from which everybody benefits. So You know, Durham Public Library, we aspire to be the cultural heart of the community. And we do that through the programs, materials we offer, the services we provide. We feel we've made great strides over the years, but we do feel that to truly be that institution, an institution the community can be proud of, we need a proper library building. And so one other thing that occurs to me is that, you know, it really is cliche, but if you build it, they will come. It's my belief that when we open this building, people who never considered themselves library users will become library users. You know, they'll be attracted to a warm, welcoming place that they can take pride in and they can participate in. So we believe we have the building design that's functional, attractive, will adapt over time, and will continue to serve Durham for generations. And that this is Durham's opportunity to create an institution that brings people together, one that everyone can be proud of. So that's what I have to say, but Doug's going to speak to design and construction costs.